Oh! Thank you, some random geek. Rejoice, comrades. With pet. I with pet. So the earliest result you can get, Deirdre, 12 p.m. So, 13 hours. Let's listen to this for 10 minutes until the BBC coverage starts at 10 past. Oh, right. Um, Fucking good question, actually. Their results are meant to be coming in at like, can you candle it? Hello, hello, my dear. How are you? A fucking good question, actually. So their results are meant to be coming in roughly at the same time as ours, but ours start getting counted at 9:30 in the morning. You know. But I think they might be doing their counts now. Don't hold me to that. Everyone, go and follow some random geek after my stream. They're awesome. They play a variety of games. The easiest one that I can think of to say, because they usually play it, Fortnite. So yeah, go and follow some random. Oh, everyone, everyone coming in. Fuck, I'll just leave it until it comes up. So the program starts at 10 past in 10 minutes. I'll just talk for a while if you want. Look, it's Nick Rupp. I recognise her, not Vicky D. Hype them! Hello, hype them. I hope all my UK-based comrades voted. Well, I know you voted. I didn't say to you in the chat, Jim, did I? In the voice call. Wrong.
This is the start of BBC Radio's coverage of a crucial set of election results.
Millions of you across England, Scotland and Wales have had the chance to vote for councillors and members of national parliaments.
And those votes could determine the fate of a Prime Minister under pressure.
As we go into these elections, we're fighting for international leadership. We're fighting for a focus on the cost of living. And we're fighting for pride in place across the whole country.
It's less than 2 years since Labour came to power and they're facing challenges from all sides.
This government is like a bad episode of Game of Thrones. His own people have turned against him, and all the while, the Prime Minister is holed up in his castle, wetting himself about a visit from the King in the North.
But this election looks set to be different. It could be the first time we'll truly see what five-party politics looks like in England.
If you want your church refixed, if you want something in your community fixed, it's the Liberal Democrats who will do it.
The question will be, do people lean towards the politics of hope with the Green Party or a divisive, hateful politics with the Reform Party? And I think lots of people will reject Nigel Farage and Reform on the ballot paper.
On May the 7th, vote Reform, get rid of Starmer. That's the big message.
And then in Scotland, will the SNP keep power into a third decade? And can Reform or Plaid Cymru make history in Wales?
With our colleagues across the country, we'll bring you those results, explain what they mean and discuss what happens next. It is going to be a night, it is going to be several days of drama. Already on Radio 4, we've had the Deputy Prime Minister, David Lammy, pleading for understanding for the results that are going to come in. All that, much more to come, but let's start with a summary of the news with Tina Ritchie.
Polls have closed in elections across Scotland, Wales and England in the biggest test of public opinion since Sir Keir Starmer became Prime Minister. Voters have chosen new members of the Scottish Parliament and Welsh Senedd, as well as mayors and councillors in parts of England. But the full results won't be immediately clear, with only some English councils counting overnight, as our political editor Chris Mason explains.
About 1,300 of the 5,000 seats being contested in England are being counted overnight. So still a minority. Most are also being counted once the sun is up. You'll wake up in the morning to an emerging picture rather than the overall picture, and it'll just be an English picture. Quite a lot of the areas where the Greens and the Liberal Democrats hope to do well, for instance, don't come until later in the day.
Labour sources have told BBC Wales they expect the party to lose the Senedd election, ending its 27 years in power. Labour is also braced for bruising losses across Scotland and England, which will likely reignite speculation about Sir Keir Starmer's future. But the Deputy Prime Minister, David Lammy, said if Labour didn't perform well, the party should still hold its nerve.
The public do not want to see the Labour Party play parts the parcel. They want us to see us getting on with the job at pace on delivery. This is absolutely not the time to go into an internal battle for the leadership of a party.
In other news, Iran has accused the United States of violating the ceasefire in the Gulf by firing at 2 of its ships near the Strait of Hormuz. The US military said it had acted in self-defense after Iran fired first by launching multiple missiles, drones and small boats towards American warships sailing through the strait. The US said none of its ships were hit. The government has summoned China's ambassador after 2 dual British-Chinese nationals were found guilty of spying for Beijing in the UK. One of the men, Peter Y., a former Border Force officer, used Home Office databases to track Hong Kong dissidents. BBC News.
Tina, thank you. So it is time. Votes are being counted following the most significant set of elections outside a general election that I can remember. There have been parliamentary elections in Scotland and in Wales, and tens of millions of people in England have had a say on who runs their council. But all over the UK, politics is changing and changing fast and may never be the same again. Stay with us for the next 7 hours or so. By the time Rachel and I sit down to present our breakfast shows, we'll have a good sense of how the politics of England is shaking down.
So Radio 5 Live and Radio 4 together once again for this election results programme. And overnight, we're going to have counting and results in 47 English councils. The results of these will tell us so much about what you, the voters, think about the various parties and the state of the country. Is two-party politics over in the UK? Will Reform make big gains, as their polling seems to indicate? How tough a night will it be for Labour? Some have predicted their worst local election results ever. And if that does happen, what does that mean for the Prime Minister?
The Greens are hoping to make impressive gains, while the Conservatives are looking rather nervously towards Reform on the one side and the Lib Dems on the other. The electoral map of England appears to be in flux. We'll bring you the first draft of the news.
Oh my God. Praise be. See Jack Miller on my stream. Hello, Jack Miller. Everyone, praise Jack Miller. Oh God, I've just assumed. Hello, Jack Miller. It's going to be bruising. Ears of the Keith are going to taste delicious. I'll need to apologise to Novara because I'm oh no, it was Lammy that said that, wasn't it? No, I'm not going to apologise to him, bastard.
Here in his 21st year of broadcasting on these election results programmes.
Indeed.
You're finally a grown-up.
I'm not sure about that. Just older.
Alex, of course, you tour the country for Any Questions on Radio 4. So you've got this unique perspective on what other people have been saying to you all around the place. What does the political landscape feel like at the moment, and how much has it been shifting in the last couple of years since the general election?
Well, considerably. And it feels fragmented, enormously fragmented. We've been talking some time about the shifting political landscape of the UK and the insurgence of parties to try and break the traditional duopoly of Labour and the Conservatives, and it just feels like that is playing out. And if you can summarise the reason, I think that people are looking around at the state of things or their own experiences and questioning whether the status quo and what has gone before is really working, and they're potentially looking for alternatives.
Now, Phil, we always say at this time of night, don't we? It's going to be very exciting, but it actually is on this occasion. It really is, isn't it? Because everything that you and I have known for all these kind of 1 or 2 years that we've been covering politics could be about to change.
1 or 2, Nick?
Yes, I think this is going to be messier, more interesting, and I think more consequential than any of the elections that I've covered in this studio. I mean, it's quite common for the government to get a kicking. I mean, I think people expect the government to get a bit of a kicking. The government, however, are going to get a kicking from multiple directions, and that bit's new. But what's really new, I think, is that the government and the opposition, the official opposition, might also get a kicking. And that's the new bit about that one party gets a kicking while the other does well is not particularly new. But for both the established parties to be getting a kicking is very different.
And could you give us some numbers to look out for? Because I'm aware that we're only going to get certain results through the night, Philip, but by the end of this, so by sometime on Saturday afternoon, what is the key figure in terms of measuring Labour's performance? How many seats might they have to lose for someone to say, well, that is an absolute disaster, for the party themselves perhaps to admit that?
So part of the problem for the Labour Party, I think, is that they have already accepted they are going to lose an enormous number of seats. So you're already talking about a situation in which even if they lost 1,500 seats, people could plausibly say, well, that's not too bad. And this is a bizarre world to be in. To have lost that many councillors in one set of elections, and not even a particularly big set of local elections, would be an absolutely catastrophic result, but it would actually be better than we are expecting based on the polling.
Now, nodding along, as you said, that was one member of the panel that we've got with us to help us kick off our programme. Baroness Debonair, Thangham Debonair, was Labour MP for Bristol West for 9 years, until rather rudely the electorate decided that she belonged really in the House of Lords instead. She was a member of the...
That's not quite how it happened.
What the actual fuck? they got fucking pissed off with her and voted her out, and yet he's still involved in making legislation. Please explain to me how the fuck that's democracy. She lost her seat. She should fuck off. Yeah, I can see that happening, Miss Hire. Yeah. Fucking.
Alongside
There was a bit of a gap.
Michael Gove, Lord Gove, is a senior cabinet minister for the Conservatives, of course, and now editor of the right-leaning Spectator magazine. Tim Montgomery was a fellow Conservative. He founded the Conservative Home website. He is now, though, a Reform supporter, a supporter of Nigel Farage, but not yet a member of the House of Lords. We shall see whether that is possible. I want to get you two who were directly in politics, first of all, to think back to your old jobs. Thangham Debonair, if you were still in the House of Commons, indeed, if you were in the Cabinet now, what would you be thinking, what you know, given what you know already?
I think the first thing I'd be thinking is sadness for Labour councillors and Labour candidates who've worked really, really hard for their communities. And actually, I think that of any party should be both thanking their councillors and council candidates when they lose, but also when they win, because it's hard work. And, Rachel mentioned the bins and the potholes. I don't think anybody put those in their leaflets. But actually, the reality of most people's lives and most councils' concerns in their post bags is bins and potholes. But by contrast, of course, what I'd be thinking about is they've won all those, or they've lost all those, and now somebody's still got to deal with social care. Somebody's still got to provide the special educational needs. What's actually going to happen on Monday to those core services that councils provide?
And Michael, you'd be in a curious position, wouldn't you, of the opposition party should do well when the government are doing badly, and yet.
Yes. So the thing is right. The first thing that anyone involved in frontline politics will feel is empathy for those who are fighting alongside them, who have been fighting alongside them. It's not just the loss of councillors, it's the loss of friends and indeed supporters. When faced in any difficult position as a politician responding to election results, there are certain tactics. The first thing is buy time. So you will hear a lot of people say, well, it's too soon to say yet. The picture is still emerging. The second thing to do is to shift the baseline. So find the worst possible performance that can plausibly be used as a parallel and say that, for example, well, in 1873, I think the Conservatives actually managed to come back from a position like this very rapidly, I think you'll find, Nick. And then the third thing is find a result for someone else that can be spun as disappointing. Reform didn't win in Barchester, Tim, and I know how hard you worked in order to win over the clergy there. That must be a big blow for Nigel. And then the fourth thing is find somewhere, ideally symbolic, where you've done well or well enough. And again, the master of this, as you will remember, Nick, was Ken Baker when the Tories had a terrible election in 1990. But he pointed out
going
the
down
Tories
to
had done
single
well in Westminster
digits
and
up here, Michael.
Then
that, by the way, will matter later.
Wandsworth,
history is repeating itself.
Wandsworth's going to stay Labour.
But then he was asked by one of your predecessors, well, what about Neil Kinnock? He'll be happy this morning. And Baker, to his enormous credit, said, of course he will. The Tories have won in Ealing, so his poll tax will be, etc., etc., etc. So
Neil Kinnock was, still is, a resident of Ealing.
Yeah, exactly. Find the diversionary mechanisms. Throw up the chaff.
That's the message to Labour and Conservative politicians. Reform may not have to employ those kind of tactics, Tim. They might just sit back and crow about their successes. We had local elections last year. Reform did very well. What are you expecting? What are you anticipating?
Well,
look how well those
I could
those
dwell on reform's
doing.
progress, which I think is going to be enormous tonight. But I think what is the most dramatic thing about tonight, I think Phil has already hinted at this, is for a long time we have been forecasting the end of the two-party system. And tonight we're going to see it on a scale we've never seen it before. And I think that is the big thing now in British politics. It means that elections are going to be much messier, much less predictable than they've ever been in the past. And it may even start to...
We have options, chat. We have options. Nick and Rachel were award-winning. I will leave it in your good hands. Put put hamburgers. Those of you who know will know what I mean by that one. What I mean by that one. Put hamburgers in the chat, or put gerbalism in the chat. Okay. Okay. We'll do a poll. Oh God. Right. One. But there's only you. Gerbil. Okay, everyone on YouTube, just put either the word gerbil or a burger in the chat. One for gerbalism.
The one that's going to be being able to sort of, cause this. That we don't have a 1922 committee system. It has to be MPs that decide. I want to make sure the country's being run tomorrow and the next day and the next day. And that is the most biggest concern for me.
Just a reminder.
Just sitting on the doorstep, I actually found it quite ugly in a way that Keir Starmer's definitely been a recruiting sergeant for reform to some extent. But people seem to have a vehemence towards him that seems to be out of all proportion, actually, to anything he's done. And it was sort of the ugliness of that on the doorstep has really taken me back and worried me slightly.
Isn't that a reflection of the tone of political discourse?
Well, you could say what comes first. Is it what politicians say or what they're picking up from the doorstep? And I've been struck, actually, the voters out there, for whatever reason, are angrier than I've known them for a long time.
And on that...
And in quite a personal way as well, which I found unsettling, actually.
And you will all have contacts, obviously, out in the regions and in councils where these elections are taking place, and so you'll be getting feedback in terms of turnout. And Professor Philip Cowley loves it when I come in and say, "Oh, reports of a high turnout." But actually, a couple of people have texted us tonight and said it will be interesting to see the turnout for Scottish election here in Edinburgh. The polling station was very busy this evening with queues. Another one here. I've been working at a polling station in Chorley. We had a larger turnout than usual in our ward. Lots of first-time voters, surprisingly. Not all young.
Oh my God.
A few people still angry about ID and storming out with no vote.
Oh, that's live
A few other
already.
people have been mentioning that to us.
Yeah, we've had people contact us from Basildon, critical seat there where Reform's hoping to make very big gains from the Conservative Party. A Tory source says in Basildon that turnout looks closer to levels seen at the general election and more young people are coming to the polls than usual. That is hard to believe, isn't it? I mean, the turnout looked like...
Oh, that's live already.
It's not, although the turnout in Basildon at the last general election wasn't actually that high, so it might be a combination of two things going on there. But the reason I'm slightly sceptical about this is just that I've sat in this studio very many times and been told there's lots of stories about turnout being queues at polling stations. We've been told. And then when the stats actually come through, it's gone up or down by 1 percentage point. So I'm not disputing any of these stories.
Let's wait and see.
It is perfectly possible that the turnout is this time up and it's higher than it. No. But I'm personally very sceptical.
One of the great challenges of election night is to work out what is solid information. And I was struck, Michael Gove, by the fact that you said that your advice to people on a night like this, pause before doing or saying very much.
Completely. And I remember being in the studio when the 2015 election results came out. And I remember Paddy Ashdown being struck by the fact that the BBC exit poll predicted that the Liberal Democrats would lose the overwhelming majority of their seats. He pledged then that if it was true that he would eat his hat. He was compelled to do so subsequently.
I think the hat ended up in cake.
It was exactly. He had his cake and ate it. He had his hat and ate it. And also it was the case that I remember during the course of the night it became clear that the Conservatives were going to move from being the largest party, significant, still the government, to an outright majority. And the moment that they moved to being an outright majority, that meant that we were going to have an EU referendum. Listeners will be aware that was quite a significant moment 10 years ago. So you don't know until a significant part of the picture has emerged quite what the ramifications will be. And for folk who want to defend Keir Starmer's position, they will, through the course of the night, I'm sure, pick up data points here and there, which do show that Labour, in some areas, will be performing better for particular reasons. So there will be, even in a tough night for Labour, some pieces of evidence they can assemble.
Well,
I know
it's here in human form, in flesh. So Chris Barnes has joined us in the studio, Minister, Labour spokesman.
I feel you're extracting the proverbial already. And I would just point out that everything that Michael Gove just said is a whole load of trollop. Just to go back to the Barchester point.
Yes. Which bit?
The Barchester point. There were no elections in the Barchester novels that I'm aware of.
Let's dispute key facts.
I think they were actually appointed. The warden is one, obviously.
Yes.
Anyway, sorry.
Yeah, we're talking about trollop novels for those who are not fans of trollop.
Great supporter of the Tory party, by the way. Trollop. That is just the height of self-indulgence. Chris Bryant, you nerd, and fuck off.
And some of my colleagues have been saying, well, it looks like there's enormous turnout in such and such a ward. And then they got to the end of the day and they said, actually, it just meant that people came earlier because they thought it was going to rain later. So it's ended up being pretty much the same. So I'm very sceptical about making big pronouncements at the moment. I mean, I'm guessing it's not going to be a great night because I've been on the doorstep and I've heard a lot of people. Tim is absolutely right. I think some of the political discourse is very, very angry around the country, and I worry about the sectarian nature. We used to think of sectarianism as just being about Catholic, Protestant, or whatever in Glasgow or whatever. But I think there's a new form of sectarianism in modern politics.
What, people in tribes, you mean, in the way that they were in religion?
And some of that, and some of it, I was a Hackney councillor many, many years ago, and I remember the sectarianism there, which was often divided around race and religion, for that matter, as well. And that's a terrible place for British politics to get into. And I think social media have somewhat contributed to that.
And now,
vast majority of us
partly
are
because
not
of
like
social
that.
media, we know that Andy Burnham has pulled out of keynote speech tomorrow that he was due to make in Manchester. We have this report in the Times of Ed Miliband recommending what I'm sure lots of people have said to Keir Starmer, which is one way of avoiding being forced out of Downing Street, if that was to happen, is to tell people in advance, look, I'm planning to go and I'm going in so many months' time. You'll remember it well. That's exactly what Tony Blair did in 2006.
Oh, yeah.
These won't all necessarily declare tonight, but we will get some of them. Now, they're all Labour councils. You can tell because of the red flashes here at the side, and none of them have declared yet because they're still grey, and that will all change. The colours will all change as we get results in. Now, Labour have a lot to lose tonight because they are defending by far and away the most number of seats, 2,500 seats compared to the Conservatives' 1,300. So look at some of these councils. The heartlands, Labour heartlands like Sunderland, Gateshead, Hartlepool, where Peter Mandelson had his Westminster seat, Wakefield, they're all under severe threat from reform. In Blackburn, reform are on the rise, but there are also independents who could threaten Labour as well. Moving a little further south into the Midlands, in Redditch and in Tamworth, reform are also a threat. In Birmingham, which is the biggest council by far, 101 councillors there, there are all sorts of issues, including a bin strike that's gone on for months and months. Reform are on the rise there, but there are also pro-Gaza independents who could threaten Labour in Birmingham. We'll be watching Lincoln. We'll be looking at Exeter, where the Greens have strong hopes of putting in a good showing in Exeter. And in these London borough councils that we have here at the end, the Greens are actually hoping to take inner city Hackney and possibly even Lambeth. More of a tall order for them in Lambeth, but they do feel that they've got a good chance. In Merton, which is on the southwest corner of London, it's the Liberal Democrats who are hoping to come in and really challenge Labour there. And Westminster and Wandsworth, well, these are two iconic councils for the Conservatives. Labour came in and swooped them off the Conservatives last time round, and particularly in Westminster, it was a real shock. The Conservatives will be hoping to wrest these back from the Labour Party. So all of these councils here, about 15 of them we've got on the screen for you, but there are many, many more that Labour are defending where they're under threat. But we'll be bringing you the results as they come in the hours ahead. Laura.
Thank you, Rita. And you'll be keeping us right throughout the night. Our guests have been waiting patiently here. David Lammy, the Deputy Prime Minister, the Shadow Transport Secretary for the Conservatives, Richard Holden, and Rachel Millward from the Greens. A warm welcome to you all. And there were some guffaws when we said we were going to be here for 21 hours. We'll enjoy every single moment. David Lammy, first of all to you. I mean, just listening to Rita go down the list of all the potential losses for you, there's no question it's looking pretty rough. How would you describe how bad you expect it to be for the governing party?
Well, look, I remember back in 2022, the Conservative government was sort of reeling from Partygate, and I remember winning Wandsworth, Westminster. It was a very, very, very good night for Labour, and no doubt about it, the clear picture from the doorstep this time round is tough. It's tough because we've got the backdrop of the crisis and the Iran war, the Strait of Hormuz, meaning that people can feel a sort of tightening amidst already a cost of living crisis. And of course, there's been the Peter Mandelson issue. So for lots of reasons, good Labour councillors, good Labour members, volunteers, knocking on doors, delivering leaflets, delivering local messages, you know, waiting lists down, public services improving, communities brought together, pride of place. But notwithstanding that, the picture is tough.
But you were already significantly unpopular in the polls before the latest conflict in the Middle East, before the latest saga, mess and embarrassments over Peter Mandelson. And this is more than a little local difficulty. It looks like you are going to have another tough time in Scotland. Multiple sources have told our colleagues in BBC Wales that you're going to lose the Senate. A former Welsh minister has already said if it's that bad, then Keir Starmer should go. I mean, this is not just a little local difficulty mid-term, is it?
Well, let's be clear. You know, you don't get rid of the pilot mid-flight because of a bit of turbulence. All incumbent governments face tough midterms. I remember back in 1999, 2 years after we won that landslide with Tony Blair, we faced a very poor set of local election results. The Cameron government, every successive local elections up to 2014, losing badly, but still going on actually to win a majority.
In 2011,
actually,
and it didn't happen to the government incumbent in 2015 or 2017. And we can, you know, we can trade archaeological facts about politics if you like, but you're not going to deny that you're in a very, very tough spot.
No, I said the clear picture is a tough. It was tough on the doorstep, absolutely about, because what you're hearing from the British people is frustration with the status quo. They want change. Many of them are experiencing falling living standards since 2008,
and in 2024,
and they voted for change,
they
and they
thought
want
you
it
could
now.
give them it, and now.
You're not giving us that. Well, that you don't need to worry about. Thank God for the devolved administration, I say. Apparently, I'm going to get a new First Minister. Kill the other one.
Our new arrival.
Yes,
We've heard from our reporter on the ground. It sounds like in Basildon you're going to win all of the seats. Do you think is that true? Is that what you?
I mean, look, I think it's worth remembering the rise of this party has been nothing more than meteoric. Actually, we're 4 years old. It's worth remembering that. And just in terms of that, we're now the largest party, the fastest growing party, the most.
You're Tories. You're Tories. You were a Tory, David. You were a Tory. Oh yeah, yeah. I might not be live if you come back later. Kev says he'll be going live midnight-ish. So I might just hang around here for a bit. Yeah, I'm glad I've muted him. Omaha. I think you might be onto something. It is mostly those areas. Oddly enough. Would that affect you? I think it would, if I remember it correctly. You know what we could do? We could maybe invite Elaine on, if you want, everyone. I can jump into our chat messenger. Can Yorkshire claim independence from the Reform Danelaw?
Looking back to any party on those numbers, you know, from a way down below that at the moment. So I think from those numbers, you know, there's obviously going to be some significant losses in parts of the country.
Significant losses?
Well, I mean, you know, you've looked at what's look at what's out there. I mean, Zia Yusuf was tweeting just you know, recently saying Reform are going to be getting over.
Your party's going to be a bloody corpse lying on the floor.
In 2022.
Yes,
so
and actually, exactly. And on those ones, well, let me speak about the 2022 ones. You're absolutely right. 2022 is also, that's when a lot of the London councils are up for grabs as well. And as David was saying earlier on, we'll have to see what happens in places like Wandsworth and Westminster, where I think there is a Labour Conservative fight there as well, which also reflects some of those important parliamentary seats.
And we'll hear on the ground, in fact, from in a few minutes from our reporter who is at the count in Wandsworth. But I just wonder, you know, your leader has had nearly 2 years in charge now, and the party might be more chipper in Westminster. Why are you not doing better in the polls? I mean, you're leeching supporters.
Well, I think the truth is, I think we are doing better in the polls than we were doing. So I think that would be fair to say since Kenny took over. And Kenny's now coming up in a positive way on the doorstep in a way that actually people are.
But you've just said you're going to have significant losses, and that's real votes. That
No,
matters
so
much
significant
more
losses
than polls.
compared to 2021, when we were at 43%. Now, no party's at 43% at the moment. So that's going to be seen in that context.
Okay, well, David Bull's put a number on the seats that he's given us his seat range. How many do you expect to lose?
I wouldn't want to put a number on it.
Yeah, don't put a number on it because you're probably going to lose about 80% of your councillors. Rejoice, comrades, the resident philosopher. Yeah, well, we've already got 10 examples, don't we? That's going swimmingly for the people who voted them in. But yeah, they would. Right, fine. A lot of these councils might go reform. Fuck it. Then when they realise what it's like, what kind of fucking apocalypse they've wrought in their local area, it might actually save the country. Don't get me wrong, I don't want reform to win fucking anything. And I'll say that if that gets voted in and that he gets into number 10, I'm going to be in queue and buying a shovel myself. No violence, I will dig a trench. Well, that might be violence towards myself. Might take me a while to dig through. Or I could buy a shovel and send it to my comrade over in Edinburgh. That'd be fun. We're both disabled. We send a third. Send one to Newcastle to another comrade. Do you know anyone on the other side of the border from... Unfortunately, we would still have the border regions here in Scotland. That's Dumfries and Cambridgeshire and shit. They still kind of vote Tory or... The Reform are looking to get fucking councillors, not councillors, MSPs in Dumfriesshire. Terrifying. I hope they don't get any constituency.
We had a snippet earlier that a senior Conservative on the ground said that Reform appears to have won all 14 seats there. Fill us in.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm being told by a senior Conservative, but also from an independent councillor as well, that they believe that all 14 seats up here in Basildon are likely to be won by Reform UK, which would be a real landslide and what is often a classic British bellwether seat, traditionally between the Conservatives and Labour, but now Reform winning seats in both their parts of this borough. Now, it should be said the verification process is still underway. Reform UK are being a little bit more cautious on the ground. They do think that they're going to win a landslide amongst the seats that are up here tonight, but they don't necessarily know they're going to take them all. If they did win all 14 seats that are up here in Basildon, it would make them the largest party. But of course, as it's only a third of the seats that are up, they're then going to have to, if they can form an administration, do so with others. And that could be very, very tricky. Think about the sort of hung parliament that we had at the end of the last decade. That's what's going to happen here at the local level. And it has been quite a fraught campaign here on the ground. And this is going to be a big test, of course, for, in particular, two National Party leaders who are Essex MPs, Nigel Farage and Kemi Badenoch. Kemi Badenoch just this week, in the last days of this campaign, manning a station in Billericay within this borough, trying to bolster support for her Conservative Party, which, you know, she's described Essex as her home. And Nigel Farage...
Oh my God. Could she be unseated if Essex goes reform? Both Keith and Battery Bob's gone? I'll not say that. But Kev might explode in joy. You catch my drift. Tory right, isn't he? Your party's in for a kicking, Richard.
Either all of or nearly all of the seats up for grabs in Basildon tonight.
Well,
What
I
does
mean,
that say about how your local area have a view of you?
Well, I think, well, as I said, there's already a former Reform MP there, but I think he left the party after some issues in the south of the borough as well. UKIP did very well in the council elections in 2014 as well, I think, in the Basildon borough, where they won, I think, most of the seats in that election well, and then obviously went on to lose at the next round of elections as well. So I think let's not take anything for granted. Also, these are very early reports with no votes being counted. So, let's just, I think we should take all of these reports at this stage with a pinch of
course, and it is early in the evening. However, I think some voters, and we know when election watchers have got long memories, and people might remember, we all watched the pictures of you pacing around up and down at your general election count. I'm sure it's not a happy memory for you, but it was one of the very interesting. Well, you did, but only with a majority of 20.
Well, 20 is plenty. There's some of those speed limits in those London boroughs, which I'm not always a big fan of.
I was going to say, I thought you were campaigning against them. But it is pretty. I mean, that would be a big deal, would it not? I mean,
well, as I said, in 2014, you know.
That's rich coming from me. My hometown MP had a majority of 1. That is Pete Wishart, everyone, by the way. Had a majority of a single vote. 20? Right. Right, it's Mum and the 8 hound. So there's 2, one side of her. No, she's in the middle. There's 1 on either side of her. Then there's a row along that way. So the 10 houses that are nearest to my mum's house. That's it. Which is like 80 feet. 80 feet. No. That is fucking nothing. And I know everyone in those households will be putting SNP tonight, or yesterday. Oh, still today.
Have to declare that, and if
Still
it is an
voted
issue,
SNP
then
by the
IPSA can investigate, and that, as far as I'm concerned, is the end of the matter.
Just to be clear, you just said it was a donation. He had originally, the
gift.
party said it was a personal gift.
It was a gift.
And anyone who stands as an MP are meant to declare things that they've received in the run-up to becoming an MP, not just from the moment they're elected.
So,
that's why this is important.
So we believe that it's not an issue, but it is a matter for IPSA, and if IPSA decides for the parliamentary authorities, and if they decide to investigate, that's for them to do.
You were guffawing on the other side of the table, you three.
£5 million for security. Yeah. I mean, what is it? What, Brinks-Matt? I mean, what?
Well, have you seen?
Not that, I don't care if it's for security or not. If he received it in the year before he entered the fucking place or palace, he's meant to fucking declare it. IPSA, boot him.
Well over a year ago. But, so obviously they wouldn't have mentioned it to you at any point until the last few days.
But the issues that matter to people in this country, the fact the country is falling apart, it's far too difficult
I think they want
for
to be able to, I think they want all politicians to follow the same rules.
You've seen the councils you're already running.
And that is what people are saying on the doorstep.
Show.
And this will be a referendum on Keir Starmer. You know you're in trouble. You know you're in trouble. And I think that Labour could lose 2,000 seats tonight. I think the Tories could lose something like 600, 700 seats. And I think that those two main parties are in big trouble.
All right. We will continue this debate with this bunch of wallflowers in a couple of minutes' time. Let's take you to Wandsworth. My colleague Adina Campbell is there for us now. Wandsworth is an interesting place for us to check in on, held by Labour now. But the Conservatives have had hopes of snatching it back. Adina, what's the atmosphere where you are? Are there any Tory smiles, or is it just too early to tell?
Well, I have to say, Laura, it does feel really tense here inside Wandsworth Town Hall because, as you say, so many people are watching closely to see what happens. This is a council that could change by tomorrow morning. Now, there are 400 people packed inside this space. As you can see, the postal votes are already being counted. Many more ballot boxes are expected in the coming hours. It's important.
I just take it for granted if you don't get council housing up here, you don't get social housing if you've been done for certain certain crimes. Like, and if it's found that you're either taking or selling or distributing out of it's easier to say a council house, you lose your tenancy and you get booted. You have no recourse to any other council in Scotland. But if it's bad enough, you get put in jail. So on the lower end, if you're using in a council house, you get kicked. You lose your tenancy. You can't get a council house anywhere else. That's when the council steps in and puts you in temporary accommodation. Because at that point you're homeless. Yeah, that's how a lot of the people around me in this area, I'll just say this area that I live in, that's how they've been fucked over. They've been council tenants and drug dealers. They've been put in prison, and the minute they get out after they've done their custodial sentence, they'll not get a council house, they'll not get social rent. You didn't get a council house, you didn't get it. Persona non grata. No tenancy agreement for you. Private rent, be gone. And if the flat gets damaged due to your criminality, you pay back. You fix the place up.
How you're going to do?
Well, we're looking forward to a really good set of results. In our 8th year, a record-breaking 8th year of making gains in local elections.
Yes,
we're looking to do well, make gains across London. We're looking to do well in places like Stockport and Portsmouth and Hampshire. Yes, we're very confident of making gains.
And why do you think that you will do well, Sarah? What messages have been working for you?
Well, to be honest, I think the debate in the studio there really does show some of it, because I think people are getting really frustrated with the traditional two parties, with the Conservatives and with Labour. And yet what we get from Reform and the Greens, it's sort of populist, it's quite extremist. People just want a group of politicians in their local council who are going to listen to their communities, who are going to focus on fixing the problems, people who are looking to build things up rather than blow it all apart. And that's what the Liberal Democrats offer. We already run successfully lots of councils across the UK, and people can see that we work hard, we listen to communities, and we do what we say we're going to do.
But if you are so confident that your message has really been cutting through tonight, why aren't you expecting to make, very significant strides and, maybe a transformative night in the way that Reform's incredibly hopeful and also the Greens are feeling incredibly hopeful? If you're looking at picking up, 100 or 150 seats or something like that, that's quite modest, isn't it?
I don't think it's modest. I think it's partly, we've been out knocking doors. We've knocked 3.5 million doors in this campaign. We've spoken to 1 million voters. But as I say, it is partly that we are listening to communities and we are thinking carefully about what we can offer. So, but we're making gains in some of those places where we won that record-breaking 72 MPs in 2024, and also in the places that we look forward to making gains at the next general election. So we are really, taking our time to make sure that we are delivering for those people.
And what's going to happen in Hull, do you think? It's one of the places we've already been watching the race on the ground. You run it now, but Labour's hoping to maybe take a bite out of your control there.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's obviously, we run it now, but only on a very, very small margin. So obviously a small change in the vote there could potentially flip it one way or the other. So we just have to wait and see, I think, in Hull.
Sarah Olney, thank you very much indeed for being with us for now. Right, let's unpick some of this party spin with the nation's favourite pundit, Professor Sir John Curtis, who's been listening carefully, of course, and will be giving us the numbers that we need to know through the night. Welcome, Sir John. Here we go. Great to have you with us as ever. So
nice
all of the parties have been giving us their sort of expectations.
Yeah.
Oh, it's going to be tough, or it's going to be wonderful. What is your, I know you'll tell me off if I say prediction, but what are you looking out for?
Oh, well, the question that's facing us in these elections is the message of the opinion polls, which is that the challenge to the Conservative-Labour duopoly that has dominated British politics since 1945, whether indeed the challenge that those two parties jointly now face is indeed something that threatens their continuation as dominant parties. According to the opinion polls now, they have the support between them of fewer than 2 in 5 people. And the opinion polls have never registered that level. It's been running at that level ever since the autumn of last year. And the question, however, is, well, will indeed reform do as well as some of the polls anticipate, given that the polls have weakened a little bit for reform? So maybe will we see signs that maybe it's tailed off a bit? The Greens, yes, have clearly risen according to the opinion polls. But the challenge for them as a party that perhaps is still running fourth is how do they turn votes gained into seats gained? And even in London, where clearly their best prospects seem to lie for the most part, the polls have been saying that while Labour is way down on where it was 4 years ago when these seats were last fought, that the Greens are still running behind Labour in London, and that therefore they might be ahead of Labour in the odd council here, borough council here or there. But I don't think necessarily, well, put it like this, if the Greens do make sweeping gains in London, it will be a much more substantial success for them than we're currently anticipating.
And in terms of the numbers that our politicians were bandying around, let's just sort of go in turn. So David Bull for Reform was saying, oh, well, if we get 900, 1,000, that would be amazing. But quite a few estimates I've seen have put them far higher than that.
Well, I'm going to say to you, Laura, that in many years' experience, the road to hell is paved with attempts to try to set expectations about local government elections in terms of seats won or lost. And indeed, actually, we've already heard a little bit of that this evening. There's been the suggestion that because the Labour Party lost 1,000 seats or so back in 1999, in Tony Blair's second term, that, this just demonstrates that, second year into term, that you're going to lose a lot of seats. What's perhaps forgotten when that point is made is that the seats that were up for grabs that year, 1999, were previously fought over in 1995, when, according to the projected national share, which we'll talk a lot more about tomorrow, but a summary measure of how well the parties were doing in the local elections as a whole, Labour had a record 21-point lead. So although they were still ahead in the projected national share back in 1999, inevitably they lost lots of seats. But the point is, this game about gains and losses, you need to understand the baseline, which I think perhaps we should now explain, because it is a little bit complicated. And again, there's been references to that in your discussion this evening. 2/3 of the seats that are up for grabs yesterday or today were last fought in 2022.
Because I'm up here. Five. One of them had both Malcolm and Manfrog. The other 4, Malcolm. They paid for 4 so they get one paid for by the Electoral Commission. Then all the other ones, whatever party it is, they pay for it. Even Labour done that. They only got 3. So I got the main standard Scottish Labour one, which was a fucking pamphlet. Nerd. Hi, Morton. Rejoice, comrades. It's the Morton. Look, it's the Professor. Oh, thank you. Reform wouldn't Crowley. I'm going upstairs to get some shit from Maybe, please, I beg of you, don't do that. Is it likely to go reform? Because I assume you'd be happy with any other one. Ideally, we'd want it to be a Green Council, obviously. So our locals, our council elections are next year, next May, and so Stormont's going to be fun times.
Britain will pass their judgment on us in 3 years' time at a general election.
Sorry about that.
We said that we were going to deliver change. They want to see real change in their lives. And I've got no doubt if we do not deliver that, we'll be out on our backsides. We have to accelerate the pace of change. We have to respond to the frustration that people are seeing. No doubt about that. I think that what they have seen is a Prime Minister who has been very good internationally, has delivered for Britain and stood up on the world stage. But domestically, the pace of change has been slower than people wanted. Now, look, we've only been in power 20 months. When I see those breakfast clubs in schools, when I see people lifted up because of the minimum wage, when I think of the children who will not be beneath the poverty line because of the decision we made on the two-child benefit cap, that will deliver change, of course. But I recognise, particularly with what's going on in the Middle East, that people are feeling it. They've been feeling it since 2008. They're frustrated, and we cannot be the status quo. We have to be the insurgents.
But what is it you're going to do differently?
Well, we have the King's speech next week, and I know that the Prime Minister will be saying more about this in the coming days and setting out that bold vision that's required.
Well, what is it? Because I've heard in this studio, and our watchers have heard many times, Labour politicians say, almost since the moment that you walked into Downing Street and things started to go wrong, time and again you've heard people say, we must accelerate the pace of change, we must do things a bit differently. Everyone's already lost count of the number of resets that you have, and already you're sitting here tonight before we've got any results saying, well, the Prime Minister is going to set out more, we must accelerate things. Look, what does that mean in brass tacks?
I want to balance that. I don't think the 3,000 neighbourhood police officers is things going wrong. I don't think waiting lists falling in the NHS, coming down in A&E 3 years now. I don't think that's going wrong. But clearly, there is more to do to repair the public services. And it's true that sometimes people have not heard the hope. They've heard how hard it is to deliver. They've not heard the hope. They've not heard the vision. That has to improve. And we have to be insurgents in office. Not if you like, just the establishment, because we have these government jobs. We have to be the insurgents. And I accept, certainly for my constituents in Tottenham, and there's still significant...
I'll mute him a second. Oh, blammy. Thank you for the follow, Feral Cats. It's going to take a while. There is 40-odd councils getting counted overnight. Hello. I am Madcat79 Scotty Eye, a Scottish disabled Marxist streamer who usually talks about health and disability and benefits. But look, elections, we are votes maxing. Oh. So there's 40 councils down in England. There's a lot more. There's 136 councils that all got voted for. Okay, it's midnight yesterday. So yes. So Holyrood from here, and the Senedd down in Wales. Oh, there he's there on the front cover, and rejoice, comrades. David Attenborough has reached a century. Maybe if you want to jump in as well, I'm getting Mr. The Brazen in a second. You're more than welcome to come on. You can jump into the Numptyverse if you like. More than welcome. I've got an open offer for Jim Speaks as well. he's interested. Oh my God! Oh, I feel for you, feral cat. No one wants to hear what Lammy has to say anyway. Correct. Sly Loris. Lammy, you're a twat. I've made that chicken too spicy. That's building up on me some bad. Shall we? Where are we? Yep, in here. Multiverse, multiverse, multiverse. Hello, John.
No,
How are John?
no. So you were able to share screens.
Oh God. I'll need to mute
Are
myself.
you able to share screens? Yeah, we're doing the
Oh,
echo thing.
oh dear. I'm gonna have to give me a second, would you?
We're doing the echo thing.
Give me a second, would you? Give me a second, would you?
Turn my mic off a bit. So the issue is I can watch you on Twitch, but it's a few seconds late. So the issue but then I'm hearing what you're saying watch you on Twitch, twice and it's bit at different times. So.
Yes.
So yeah, I've muted it on my side, the video, so I can see Rachel and Thingy talking, but yeah, I've no idea what they're saying.
I'll share the screen. Your screen. Huh. Come on.
Okay, let's see. Oh yeah, I can see the screen. Can't hear any.
Right.
So
20
not-
months.
We've got more time for you guys to have this quiet little shy conversation
Yes,
that you've
perfect.
been enjoying.
Hey!
We also want to make sure that we are
Can you hear
showing you
me?
what's happening around the country. And there you can see the live pictures of the count in Basildon and Essex we've been talking about. The count is getting underway in Reading too. There are all sorts of fascinating battles. Rita, some of them could be really quite painful for the Conservatives. You've given us a close-up look of the Labour councils at stake, but what about the Conservative ones? And oh, you've got a lovely big total of everybody.
I've got a big total first, and then I'll get to the Conservatives, Laura. Yeah, I just wanted to show you what is at stake for each of the main parties. So, as you can see, it's Labour that has by far and away the largest number of seats to defend tonight, 2,500. That's about half of all the council seats that Labour has in England. So a lot at stake for Sir Keir Starmer and his party. Conservatives are defending about half that number on just over 1,300. And that actually is an inflated number for this point in the cycle because...
Right, let's try this. John, say something? hear John. Can everyone hear John?
I've noticed I can. Oh, it's muted now. I was able to watch the stream, but I couldn't. But you're muted on the stream, so I can't tell
Oh,
what you're
right.
saying.
Ooh. I figured it out the last time. On. Oh. Oi. Huh. Yeah, I've muted myself. Hello.
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Right.
Can I hear the?
Hello. Hang on.
I think the stream's on 0, so I can't hear what's on stream
East
now.
London. Now, that's been Conservative for quite a while. Reform are nipping at their heels and will be hoping to make inroads there, potentially even taking Bexley. Council like West Sussex, Reform are also a threat to the Conservatives, as are the Liberal Democrats. So a whole host of different contests going on in all of these Conservative councils. And we will, of course, bring you the results as soon as they come dribbling in. And just one more thing to show you. Lots more on the BBC News website, and you can type in your postcode if you want to find out what's going on in your area, and it'll come up with the website address. But I'm sure you all know that address by now. Surely, Laura.
Thank you, Rita. Well, let's go straight to then one of those Conservative-held councils.
Yeah, we'll get back to you in a minute. Okay, let's try this one more time. Can everyone hear me? Is the mad Scottish class coming through nice and clear?
I can hear you.
Nice one. Good. Thank God for that one, John.
So I'm wondering, are you familiar with poll check? So there's 2 polling sites that is trying to predict how council seats are going to turn out. One of them's called Britain Votes, but that one stopped showing results on polling day, saying there's a legal reason for it. But poll check is still showing the predictions.
Right.
It's showing which councils potentially could be changing hands and all that. So I'll post that in. Shall I post it in Discord?
Yeah, whack it in the Discord. So will I tell everyone who doesn't already know? Did it start counting for your council in the morning?
Let me see. Yes, so my count starts tomorrow morning at 9:30.
Same time as us. Start counting Holyrood's at 9:30.
I guess the sad thing for me is all of the Labour councillors I would like to see lose their seats in real time, having their votes, their counts on the Saturday. And I'm really sad about that because it's like I just want to see like just their faces as they know they've lost their seats.
Oh God.
But yeah, Bradford Labour are pretty much screwed. They control the council with a majority of 1 seat, and they're predicted to have maybe between 9 to 12 seats, maybe. And the Green Party potentially could be the largest party, but if it's not us, it's going to be Reform. So I think the likeness is Reform won't end up in the administration, even with the Tory support. I think the independent group and the Greens potentially might be able to work something out, but yeah, we do have our differences with them.
Yeah. Right. All right. I know where Lincoln is. I've been there. Brock, where's Broxbourne?
Broxbourne, not heard of that place before.
Ah, right. I know Broxtowe. That's Nottinghamshire.
Yeah.
But there's Reading. Wandsworth. So many little councils.
Part is in Hertfordshire.
Oh, right. Thank you kindly.
There's some place down south I've never heard of. Suppose it's a real place. But yeah, Wakefield is one I'm worried about. So it seems almost inevitable, but reform will take control of it. And on Saturday, I'm going to a trade union march in Wakefield Town Centre called With Banners Held High. The Green Party has a presence there, so we have our own section in the march and we'll have a stall. So yeah, I'm going to bring the Bradford Green Party banner. But yeah, it'd be interesting because the leader of the council usually speaks at that event, but I don't think she'll turn up after losing a seat.
Oh dear.
Yeah, I think a lot of people will be down on their spirits. So it'd be good just to be there, just to show some solidarity. And
Yeah. Are you far
same
away
with
from here?
Barnsley.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Who was someone said in the chat? I think it might have been Scribby. Barnsley is more than likely going to go reform. Oof.
Yeah.
How do we see
Not
him
as bad
take?
as Wakefield by the looks of it, but yeah, it seems like it's definitely gone that way.
I can't believe that going to reform. That's just not.
Yeah. Honestly, if you look at the polling I'm at, it's like, how should I'm trying to look out. So yeah, so it's all out elections across the Yorkshire, it seems, but yeah, so 48 seats out of how many? Yeah, it's not telling us how many seats there are in total. So there's 64 seats in Wakefield in total, and Reform is predicted to have 48. So, but the silver lining is the Green Party are going to have the first seats, it seems. So 3 seats by the looks of it, but maybe more. We don't. But, yeah, honestly, I can understand the position of people in these areas. It's like Labour, even like during the Corbyn years, was just a nasty, autocratic. I don't know how to describe it really, but yeah, it was all about being in the club. They had a majority forever, so it's like it all became just about sucking up to power, I guess, for people who wanted to be involved. So yeah, I've guessed they've got their asses handed to them. Unfortunately, it's Reform who's done that, and not a party who deserves to kick him up the arse like the Green Party.
Yeah. Scribby, Omaha. Is that likely? Is West Sussex going to go to the bastards? That's terrifying. So Scribby, resident philosopher, and Omaha the cat dancer. They're both in West Sussex County Council. Omaha, if you need to, I can help rescue you if you mind you in saying that the moving wild disabled all the way from down there is don't get me wrong, it's happened before. Plenty of people have helped other disabled people move up here because of this. Oh,
So on poll check, it's showing West Sussex Reform won't have an absolute majority, but there'll be a few seats off, and it seems likely the Tories might be able to prop them up. But the Lib Dems seem to have increased their vote share, and the Greens maybe got one more seat. Yeah, it doesn't look that much different, really. It's just changing one blue rosette for another blue rosette, I guess.
Oi, oi, chat. Oi, oi. Please tell me you can hear me now. I beg of you. There's the inputs coming through.
I don't know if anyone can hear me or not.
I can hear you.
Yeah.
Yay! I can be heard. We can both be heard. Thank you, Feral Cats. I love your name, by the way. That is fucking awesome. There's no many feral cats around here. There's too many dogs. Does Poltech even have new data? Well, for them to get the new data, they need to have people at the counts. They might.
Yeah, I'm not sure how they're even getting their data. I think it does sort of explain SOPN adjusted projection, whatever that means. Where
Yeah.
you can read methodology.
So I've got options here sitting next to me now. So I've got juice. I have my diluting juice, summer fruits, and in a smaller hip flask, rum. These are straight, by the way. They've been in the freezer for most of the day. And a larger one, vodka. Don't worry, I will not be getting drunk, people. I'll just take sips of them. Mind you, in saying that, he's going to be buying me drink for doing the coverage for the counts. So we should be getting our first result at lunchtime in about 12 hours. And that will be Airdrie in the Central Belt. So the vast majority of the seats the vast majority of the population, not the seats, is in the Central Belt, so between Glasgow and Edinburgh, between the two coasts. And most of them will be getting announced between like 12 and 5. Like you just saw that footage there of Lerwick. They're not due to come in until 7 p.m. tomorrow. Well, today, essentially, so fucking ages yet for those ones. So the vast majority of the seats will be getting announced by 6 or 7ish, roughly. Well, mostly before 5, actually, for most of them. So that will be fun. I will coordinate with Super Hubby so I do not annoy him while I'm streaming from lunchtime onwards for at least 5 hours. My one is due to be announced at 3-ish. Which will be fun to see. It should be going to the SNP. So the one who is Kev's going. I forgot about that. Kevin of Loganshire is streaming as well, John. So
yeah,
be fun. Let's listen to these guys for a while.
Yeah,
Did you see that they've got Rachel on?
While they were tackling the suspect to the ground, and
Hey,
he apologised for
Rachel.
me sharing that, Rachel Millward. But when he was in the same studio with us actually at the weekend, he repeated his concern about how the police had behaved.
I think everyone agrees that nobody's above scrutiny. It is important that we scrutinise the police. It was wrong.
Just a second. This person who just stabbed 2 people.
Oh no, I'm not.
Right. Right.
I'm saying it is always valid to ask questions. What wasn't valid, and which the apology is clear on, is it wasn't.
I hate to say I agree with David on this one, but I agree with David on this one. Now, David and I might disagree on his proposals for jury trials and other things, but we very much agree that there's some really crazy stuff coming out of the Green leader at the moment. We've seen recently him trying to take credit for some form of job with the Red Cross, which it turns out he never had. Obviously, there's those historic issues.
Honestly,
I think that is.
This past week has been a nightmare.
No, well, the Red Cross, he
the
was a
Conservative
fundraiser,
leaning
so
areas in our ward. This story has really taken a hold on some people. Where we weren't receiving nastiness before, we suddenly started receiving a lot of nastiness on the doorstep.
What did you think of Zach's What did you think of Zach's answer?
I think I probably agree with Turn Left in that you're probably best off not apologising and just directing it towards an issue that actually matters.
Yeah, I have to be a little bit right.
You could say maybe it wasn't a good time to be retreating while people are still sort of like in shock, in mourning, over. But at the end of the day, his criticisms were not incorrect, and maybe they shouldn't have kicked him in the head after being tasered, or while he was being tasered.
So for full clarity, everyone, I'm speaking for me. I'm speaking for myself. Mad Scottish woman, not Scottish Greens. The taste of this suspect. They didn't need to. They kicked him repeatedly in the head. They didn't need to be doing that. They'd already tasered him. He was already on the deck. That's it. They tasered him. He fell to the ground. Then they basically jump on top of him, essentially. Cuff him. Do not kick head repeatedly. That is my opinion. Not the parties. But yeah, I watched that footage and I was saying, what the actual fuck? You didn't need to be doing that. You've tasered him. By the way, most tasers are 50,000 volts. Dangerous for certain people, by the way. Can cause the heart to basically cut off. And the last time I checked, I think we still need our hearts to beat. Just saying. So, tasers, well, technically they can be lethal. Say again?
There's also the risk of concussion as well from being kicked in the head. And
yeah, that's just madness. Yeah, you can, a blood-brain barrier can get, right, it's not just the brain in there, there's other things, there's the blood-brain barrier, and there's fluid as well, because that needs lubrication and shit. So you can get hematomas on the back. So concussion essentially, so battering, literally bruising the brain. It can kill off parts of the brain. That's why you've got CTE, footballers, rugby players, American football. Rugby with lots of padding, essentially. That's how. Damn it, what's it? I can't remember. Was it? It's basically brain trauma.
Your position, I'm wondering what are the Scottish Greens thinking at the moment about this? Because obviously they've been looking to renew ties with the English and Welsh Green Party, but obviously
I'm not.
Yeah.
Well, oh my God, they've got a councillor. Shit.
Reform.
I missed that. Yeah, Reform have got a councillor now. It has started. Reform have one councillor.
Yeah, it was probably in a low turnout area, yes. Oh no, they've put it back to 0. Might be a
Oh,
mistake on that. Oh no, yeah, English.
as a councillor, it's just a councillor. So, so one of them, one of these ones, like just now, that's the councillors. The other one you're seeing is the councils. So, so the councillors will be
Yes,
the higher number, obviously.
It's the all day, yeah.
It's going to be fun
But, yeah.
next year. It's going to be fun next year for me. Hopefully, I'll be able to help out a bit more. For Glasgow, at least. We're going to try and get some more councillors in. Watch this space chat. Reform in the bin. Yeah. Get in the bin. Who was the one you were going up against? It was a Tory, wasn't it?
Yes, Tory, but it could be Reform. It's looking like it could be a 3-horse race, and
Oh Christ!
I guess either way will beat Labour, so that's a good thing because they're going to be 4th place, and they've convinced maybe some people who are going to split their votes or vote Labour to vote for us and try and get us out Reform. But yeah.
Yeah.
So, what you call it, the Stop Reform UK website, they were quite late in updating their website, but they did put us down as the best option to keep out Reform. I posted that, and that upset some Reform people apparently. So they were coming in my comments, and
they're up to 2 councillors.
that's
Maybe
the
we
thing.
should.
So they're going to benefit from like low turnout areas. The Green Party's also benefited from low turnout areas. So
What
the main idea is to convince less people.
It's saying Labour's got a council.
Yeah.
But no councillors?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
That's weird.
Really. Yeah.
That's weird. You'll see there that show by next year, and a lot of their main voter base will have. not to be too. I can't think of what the fucking word am I looking for? Yes, they'll no longer be among the land of the living. A lot of the people who will be voting Reform. Depends when the general election's called, Omaha. Oddly enough.
I guess
I'm going.
One thing I found about elderly people is they're not changing who to vote for in most cases. They are either voting Labour or Conservative, and it's like you just can't explain to them how things have changed, and they're just going to vote like how they've always voted, basically. But I think the ones who are like still there mentally, they're all going to probably vote Reform or whatever because their newspapers don't.
Yeah. Okay, they said it's not the start of a pandemic. Yeah, I know it's. Have you been keeping an eye on that? The hantavirus on that cruise ship?
Not really. It's like when I saw it, I did sort of look into it a little bit, but there was some reason it wasn't like a pandemic sort of thing. But
don't it won't be. Don't worry,
yeah, it's
you're
like
you're.
so busy campaign. It's like I do not have another thing to think about.
Yeah, I don't blame you. I just like putting lots of stuff onto my plate. I'm keeping an eye on it, don't you worry. And if anything changes, I will let everyone know.
So yeah, I think the Reform seats, we're going to get them announced first before some of the more traditional parties. Probably, as I said, like the low turnout, that's what new parties benefit from the most, really. So
Yeah.
they're able to reach less people, but also that means that the counts are much quicker.
What the Union flag jacket?
Definitely.
That's Reform.
Oh no, is that a white rose there? It could be some other.
Oh, I was right.
Reform.
It is. It's Reform. What a surprise.
Yeah, there was. I'll send you a picture of this.
You beat. I'll put that on. I'm going to refill my water bottle, which is now empty. I need to stay hydrated, especially if I'm going to be drinking neat spirits. Buried in that jacket. One less Union flag for me to look at. And I didn't like the way they cynically used my saltire. It's my saltire. Mine's. You leave my flag alone, you bastards. It doesn't mean what you think it means, or you're not you have to ask all of our permission, all of us here in Scotland, before you use it for your nefariousness. They've all been taken down but one now. One sitting on a lamp post, which is sitting on an overpass over the dual carriageway. It's just that every time that I go outside my house, I can see the fucking thing. So the council finally took them down. And how did I know it was the council? I've got a friend who works for the council who told me. Fun. And I have Green Councillor friends as well, oddly enough. I will be back momentarily, everyone. Do not worry. I'll still be able to hear you, John, okay? Right, I'll put the volume on that. Oh no, I'll just leave it so I can hear John. Put that back on. I'm here, empty bottle. Hello, hello. I return. Sorry.
Able or indeed go sooner. So I think we just don't know what the psychological experience of Labour MPs, of those in the unions, of Labour supporters, of those in Sir Keir Starmer's top team will be until they experience the losses that they are forecast to experience. If they are at the more severe end of that, you could well just see a real eruption of fear about future results and a sense of desperation that might force them to take some action with their Prime Minister. If it's at the lower end of expectations,
So I don't know if
it
you
may
saw it,
give
but I
Keir
sent
Starmer
you an
the
image
opportunity
of
to fight
who
back,
was my
particularly in
former
circumstances
counsellor,
where,
Hang on.
as it
who is
currently
now
appears, we
defected
don't
to
know who.
reform.
Say again?
I've sent you a photo of in your chat in Discord.
Oh,
I've
right.
sent you a photo of my former counsellor who has defected to reform, and similar to the Union Jack jacket, but somehow he just looks. I don't know how to describe it really, but yeah,
Right.
he's got some reform socks and some Union Jack shoes, and he's
Okay.
wearing his socks over his trousers, and he just looks ridiculous.
Right. Let's see this. Right. Oops. Right. Give me a second. Ah. There we go. There we go. That's better. H2O can go down there. Huh? Right. Huh. Oh, no, I mean it that. There we go. Let's see this. Oh, you're a twat. That man is a twat. Oh, look at him. That jacket's too short for him. Hmm.
Yeah, I don't know if you can get it on screen, but yeah.
Okay, I'll show it later.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right, there we go. Back into the numbers. And just minimise you down there again. Oh, back to Rita.
Going on. And of course, the parties are targeting them all. Let's start at this side of the screen. And these four here are all reform targets. So they're under no overall control. There's no one party that has sole management of any of these councils. But Havering, which is in on the east edge of London, Walsall in the Midlands, South Tyneside in the northeast, and the Isle of Wight, of course, right down in the south, all reform targets. And you can see from the geographical spread how far they are hoping to really sort of embed themselves as a party of local government. Others to watch are some interesting councils here, which are Lib Dem targets. Stockport, Portsmouth, Gosport in Hampshire, Three Rivers in Hertfordshire, and also West Oxfordshire, David Cameron's older territory, of course. They're all areas where the Lib Dems have a presence and will hope to be advancing further. Brentwood is Lib Dem and also Reform, have hopes there. East Sussex and Norwich. The Greens are actually running Norwich as a minority party, leading the council, and they will be hoping, of course, to be able to come in and take it directly and become the biggest party on the council. let's move actually from the councils back to the leaders, because, of course, on nights like this, we talk a great deal about the leaders who, of course, shape exactly what voters think about the parties and where they're going to put their cross. And we're going to look here at opinion polls favourability. Let's start with Keir Starmer and Labour, and let's see how his fortunes have changed in the last 2 years. So essentially since the general election. And you can see at the general election, roughly the same numbers thought of him favourably as unfavourably. But see how far those lines have diverged over time up to April of this year, where 24% had a favourable opinion of Keir Starmer, 69% had an unfavourable opinion. And that gives a net figure of minus 45 to Sir Keir Starmer. Moving along, Kemi Badenoch, you can see that around the time of the general election, people weren't really sure about her at all. Then her favourability increased, and it has gone up to 29%. That is rather higher than it was before, but she has an unfavourable of 50%. And that gives her a net minus 21. Now, Ed Davies' chart looks really rather different, because as you can see, the favourables and the unfavourables are roughly the same. Haven't changed very much in the last 2 years. Favourable 30%, unfavourable 33%. So that gives Sir Ed Davey a -3 rating. Now, you might think, oh, that makes him popular, but it might also suggest that he suffers from a lack of visibility, that people aren't really quite sure what to think. And now to Nigel Farage, whose graph looks very singular, because as you can see, he is a Marmite politician. People who like him really like him, and his line has stayed stable at roughly 25 to 30%, and unfavourable at roughly 60 to 65%. And that gives him a net of minus 38. So this is where the leaders stand in terms of opinion polls. Let's see what difference tonight's results will make.
Thank you very much indeed, Rita. Let's just talk about those favourability ratings in some detail. And just as we do that, we could say the Greens have taken their first seat in Chorley and Lancashire. So we now have 3 seats in. The Greens have taken 1 in Chorley, but that council is still a Labour council. David Lammy, when you look at that, Keir Starmer's sort of crash in personal popularity since he's been in charge, do you have any sympathy with the people in your party who say he's just not going to be able to fix it?
Look, I've got to tell you, and you were talking about a timetable. There is a timetable. The timetable's about 40 months to the next general election. That's the timetable we have. That's the timetable we got from the British people. And this kind of hokey-cokey with leaders was done by the Conservatives and roundly rejected at the last election. So you have to hold the course and wait for the British people in the general election to deliver their verdict on the Labour Party. I've got to say, the Labour Party is not just about the leader. It's about all of us that sit around the cabinet table. It's about our movement. It's much bigger than just the leader. And the truth is that what I see on a day-to-day basis is tremendous resilience, fortitude, application, dedication. The hard work is considerable. But I do accept, the environment has changed dramatically since I first came into politics. The social media environment is different, where people get their news is different, the expectations are different, and frankly, the frustration in the public is very different.
But that's the same. All politicians have to deal with a different environment. I suppose what people will be wanting to hear from you about is, what is it that you think has gone wrong when people's opinion of Keir Starmer, you can see it, we saw it there on that chart, it has changed so much. And I know how close you are. I think he started his leadership campaign sitting around your kitchen table. So what is it that you see that people aren't seeing?
No, I've seen this 2 ends. I've been in opposition and I've been in government. And the truth is, when you're opposing and objecting, but you have no power, it is possible to be very popular, and it's certainly just before you win an election or just after you win an election, usually are very popular. When you have to start to deliver,
people don't like you.
It gets tougher. And the truth is, let's look around the world. In Australia, they were behind the polls significantly, but went on to win. Albanese doing very badly after a referendum they had on Aboriginal rights, initially in office, but going on to win. In Norway, they were 20 points behind in the polls, but went on to win. In Canada, they were behind in the polls, but went on to win. The truth is, progressive governments can struggle in the midterms, but then go on to win elections. And that's why you have to hold your nerve and demonstrate delivery.
Have you talked to Keir Starmer about what he might do differently after these sets of elections?
Well, look, I sit around the cabinet table. We all talk about what we have to do, what we have to accelerate, what we go back to our departments and deliver. So, of course, we're on that. And clearly, on defence.
I know, I can hear you.
On our relationship with Europe over the coming years. How we get growth in the economy in tough times, how we stand by people as things get harder as a result of Iran.
So yeah, it's no longer showing the stream.
And we will have to deliver for the British
on
people.
this.
Okay, well, Labour's just held another council. They
I was
couldn't
watching
lose it,
before.
Halton
It
in
just
Lancashire, but
says
that we
stream
can now
pause.
confirm that Labour's held
And
Halton
it
in
says you've
Lancashire, but
minimised
Reform have been making
minimised
gains and taking
the
seats
application.
6 so far.
And also, just in terms of that, I'm just hearing
that's
that we
cool.
have gone up 53%, Labour down 50% in Halton, Merseyside. That should be a stronghold for you.
Well, I haven't heard that. You're telling me that. I don't know if I need. I don't know if I should trust you.
Okay.
Well, what I can tell you is we've got the first 6 seats in from Halton, which is in the northwest in Lancashire.
So, yeah,
All
I don't know
6
if you
seats
noticed, but we've
are
got one
Reform
green.
gains from Labour. So we're not going to get into what the percentages may or may not be, but we can confirm.
Oh, no, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, I can't hear.
Oh, I've muted it. Oh, no.
Yeah. Oh, yes,
There
one
we
green.
go. There we go, yay.
Council.
I'm fine,
is
I can read it.
one of the areas where only
There we
a
go.
portion of the seats were actually up for election. So Labour have held that council. They couldn't lose it. But Reform, you can see they're clearly making gains, 6 seats to them, Labour down 6. Counting is not complete there, but you can already see in that small sliver of the result that's already come in, Reform is gaining from Labour very significantly. Let's get back out round the country where the counts are underway. Let's talk to Emily Hudson, who's in Hampshire.
Oh, Tameside.
Emily has been a Conservative council since 1997. It's one of the places where the election was postponed from last year. What's the atmosphere? What are the whispers?
Well, the Conservative leader is here in Andover this evening. He said he's feeling nervous. He thinks it's going to be a tough night. And he's worried about some of his hard-working colleagues who look likely to lose their jobs this evening. Now, the question is, where are those Conservative votes going? Are they going to Reform or are they going to the Liberal Democrats? And support for the Liberal Democrats in Hampshire has been rising over the last few years. They've been taking district and borough councils from the Conservatives. They got some MPs from the Conservatives at the last general election. So will people flip to the Liberal Democrats? Will they flip to Reform for Hampshire County Council? I can tell you, as well as the county being counted tonight, we've got 6 district and borough councils and 2 city councils. Now, the Reform person in Portsmouth texted me and said they have not seen turnout like it in Portsmouth. They said there were queues of 20 minutes outside polling stations. When they were talking to people in the queue, they were turning out to support Reform. They're incredibly confident of taking that city council. And they're also telling us that they're hopeful of taking Havant and Gosport boroughs as well.
We were told the turnout in one of the more Labour-leaning polling stations was much higher than average for local council elections. So we think it might benefit us, but also it could also be people coming out for Reform.
Yeah.
But yeah, it just seems like people are more interested. Actually are starting to vote in local elections, which before it's quite difficult to get used to, you know.
Thank you. You can go back up there.
Liberal Democrats have got one now. So is Labour somehow.
Nice. Holy fuck. My phone was down to 33%.
Calms down, yeah.
Oy.
West general election seat in 2024. A colleague of mine who lives on the Isle of Wight has said she's had a reform leaflet through her door almost every single day of the last 2 weeks. And so
what the fuck?
really
That's mad.
They will push through on the Isle of Wight.
God, they're desperate to get places, aren't they?
So much, even in 2026.
Thing is, like, if it's all out of elections,
It's still
you can split the budget between 3 candidates, and that can mean you can push more literature through the door without going over the spending limit. So we've also been doing that. One criticism of us is probably, but we put out too many leaflets, and the Tories were trying to say it's not very green, is it?
No.
But they just don't want us to campaign, really. But you did get the impression people were fed up with receiving literature from us.
So, up here for the campaigning here is that I know Glasgow, I've got friends over in Edinburgh, I've got family in Perth and Aberdeenshire. And Aberdeen itself, oddly enough. So, yeah. They saw lots of, like, campaigning. They didn't, like, reform. They bombard. I'm thinking if I got 5, everyone else around here got 5 as well. So they seem to be battering at least this seat, as far as I can tell, just with leaflets. They've not done any canvassing here in my neck of the woods, because we tell them where they can. We tell them where they can shove it and stuff.
So, yeah.
But the eastern end of the seat that I'm in now, they've been campaigning over there, which is like, this is one of the most deprived council areas in all of Scotland, and one of the most deprived in all of the UK, oddly enough. And we're the most left wing, like they're punishing us or something.
So yeah, they don't necessarily go for the most deprived areas, but they go for the lowest turnout areas, because they know they need to come less people to vote for them to be able to win.
Well, the turnouts for the turnouts for here. I'll just group them all into, like, they did actually canvass for the first few elections when me and Super Happy moved into this flat. So the first one we would have voted in would have been O2. And then all the ones after it. So for like O2, 7 and 11, they actually canvassed, like, all of them. UKIP and whatever iteration of Man-Frog Party, they didn't canvass here, but the Tories did. The Tories canvassed here for the first two general elections I was here for. I thought, why the fuck are you canvassing here? It's either going to be SNP or fucking Labour. Give up. You're going to lose your deposit. And they did in short order. The Tories never get their deposit back when they run here. Ever.
So yeah, reform have not been campaigning until after the postal vote drop, which I found quite surprising. So they were putting out generic leaflets, but they didn't even say the names of the candidates or anything like that. And there was 2 of them sort of out campaigning all that, taking photos, reposting the same photo and pretending they're out in the same place again, like a few days later. Just lying about being involved with campaigns they weren't involved with. But there's only 2 of them, and the other one seems to be like a paper candidate, but they're sort of pretending it's all 3 of them. And I think the reason behind that is they wanted to fill every seat to make it look like they've got a lot of members who want to be councillors and all that. But
I only found this out through the WhatsApp for. Oh look, it's Nosferatu. They've cracked open the coffin again. How's it going, Professor? So I didn't know this. I didn't find this out until the canvassing had really kicked off in Glasgow, essentially, and on the WhatsApp group for my neck of the woods. So it'd be North and East Glasgow WhatsApp section and stuff. So the reform that's running here, or the one that's running to become our MSP. Guess what she was before she joined Reform?
What?
Tory councillor.
Should have been able to guess, but yeah.
Yeah,
so the
she
guy
was.
He was also a Tory, but yeah.
Yeah.
Surprisingly, he was one of the more centrist Tories, and his reason for joining Reforms is the only out of spite to get rid of his colleagues who he felt didn't support him towards the end of his career in the Conservative Party or whatever.
What?
But, yeah.
Oh, right, fucking hell.
So
like,
yeah. So Omar had an answer. So interestingly, I started out as a parish councillor. My council was set up around 2016, and I joined 2018. But yeah, it's like there's this big argument about whether or not it should be all independents or political parties should stand. And often you find it's better off in conservative areas to have independence, because at least then you can sort of have people with more left-wing politics get through.
Yeah.
But, yeah. I beat a Lib Dem by 30 votes, as an independent.
Oh. Like, see, the council elections next year up here, the Western Isles, like all the councils for like the Western, the Outer Hebrides and some of the Inner Hebrides, they vote in independents. So there's no one runs on a party ticket, especially on the Hill na Shar. Stornoway, fuck it. They vote in independents, essentially. But most of the people who run it as independents were either Westminster MPs, and they got fed up with the way things work down in that Westminster bubble and in the House of Commons, and they left and said fuck it, and they came back home and they basically run as independents, but still with the same sort of party policy as what they used to be down in London. Look, there's some genuinely true independents that run for Nahil Nashar, which is fucking amazing. They've been tempted by the party political system, and they've basically told all of the parties, including the SNP and stuff, where to go. But quite a lot of the independents who will be running in the councils next year on the islands are in tacit agreement to run basically using the same council policies as Scottish Greens, which is lovely to hear. I was talking to a few of them in our conference last year in Edinburgh. They're brilliant people. I fucking loved them. They loved my Perth accent. I think it's the bane of my life.
When you got who are genuinely like independent.
Yeah, they're genuinely independent. Yeah, they're brilliant people.
Yeah, they can do a lot of good, but often you find you get people who are sort of politically aligned, and so ours is kind of secretly conservative controlled, even though on paper it looks like it's all independents, except a few who were elected on a party ticket. But it's like they've got to a point where whenever they do a co-option, which is when no one stands for election and the elected councillors can select someone into the role, they're just selecting Conservative Party members every time, and I think it might encourage some people to stand next year just to get them out really, because they literally created an AI logo. Like they replaced the semi-functional logo, but not brilliant logo, with a AI generated logo, and that no consultation whatsoever. I was quite angry about that as well, because they should have employed someone to do it really, because it just makes them look unprofessional.
Right, everyone, including you, Mr. The Brazen. I'm going to take a swig. What do you think? Dark rum, vodka. Dark rum, vodka.
Dark rum.
Dark rum. For those who are wondering, it is OVD, because I'm a mentalist.
So yeah, I'm staring at a bottle of Japanese whiskey. Well, I know it's not worth drinking tonight because I know. So I have to be there for 9:30. I found out, so I probably won't stay here for long. But
no problem. Yeah, I was going to say anytime that you want to bounce, because you'll need sleep.
Yeah, will do.
Are you far away from where the count is?
I'm being picked up, but I'm not too far from it now.
Oh, it's not
yeah, I
bad then.
think we want to be there in case there's a recount, and also they're telling you want to be sort of aware to be able to do it correctly.
I'm trying to think. So I can't think of what council area Lammy's seat's in. That's a fucking good question, actually.
Is it Lambeth or somewhere?
Is it Lambeth? Yeah, it has. Oh, please, Lambeth, please vote Green. Bring in the Greens just to piss off Lammy. It will be glorious. Please, I beg of yours.
So Tottenham.
Yeah, it's Tottenham. He's in. That's his seat.
Tottenham have the council. Yeah.
Oh, that's a good one, actually.
Oh, it's Haringey. So that was like.
What council area is Ilford North then?
Sorry. Ilford North. Does Ilford have a council?
It is Ilford North.
Redbridge.
Right. Redbridge. Northeast.
And David Lammy's seat is in Haringey, which was sort of branded as a Corbyn council and all that. Maybe
Haringey's Jam Man area, essentially.
But honestly, it may as well just go Green now, because if there was anyone good, they'd probably be deselected or unseated or whatever.
Oh God, my nose. Oh, that's warming me up nicely. That was so the vodka that's in the larger hip flask. It's essentially a leg flask, not a hip one. I don't think that would go in any hip pocket that I can think of. Like I was wearing combats, like standard combat trousers. Well, they're fashion combats, not proper combats like soldiers would wear. But they've got leg pockets, and the one with the vodka in it fits right in the one on your shin. That's your calf, your lower leg below the knee. So I tried fitting it into the hip pocket, so that your side pocket. Nope, not a hope. Mind you, they are styled for women. been ages since I've won combats. It's weird. All I'm needing now is to get to recover a pair of docks. Mind you, I've seen the price of them. Fucking hell. I am not spending £130 on a pair of docks, as much as I love them.
It's a Labour hold because Labour's lead was unassailable. It was always going to stay Labour. This is a council that is counting in thirds, which means only a third of the seats in the council are up for election, which holds back any advance by a challenger to Labour. But just look at this. This is the change since last time these seats were fought. Labour's lost 11 seats and Reform's gained 11 seats. Labour has lost every single seat so far to Reform. It's defending 17 of the 19 seats that are up. We've got 12 of those 19 seats counted. So let's see what the next few minutes bring. But, you know, although they are still counting here, it's a Labour hold. But they will be very, very worried looking at this, this surge by Reform in their own heartlands. This has been a Labour council for several decades. Let's take a quick look at the scoreboard just before I hand you back to Laura. Night's young, but here we go. Reform on 15 seats, gained 15 seats. Labour's lost 15 seats.
Am I the only one who noticed?
Ed Davies' party.
When they talk about leadership capability, they did not show Zach Polanski.
Oh! Oh!
And that's because it was more favourable than not really, and they probably didn't want to show that.
Yeah, I know. I noticed that. Totally unbiased BBC, apparently. Oh. Fucking ridiculous.
But yeah, it's like, in a way, I'm not really sympathetic to the idea, but you should treat local elections as a referendum on leadership at a national level. I do think you do need to think about who you want running your local authority.
I'm wondering how it's going to go for Glasgow next year.
Except for Labour, because there's no good leaders in local government and there's no good leaders at a national level. So no one has an excuse for voting Labour.
Yeah.
So my council lead the seat to Reform by the looks of it.
The major, right, Glasgow is SNP run, thankfully. And my Bailey, basically the legal definition, but a historic one, but they still get, some of them still get called Baileys and some of them get called councillors. So my Bailey, for my bailiwick, as it were, he's SNP and he's fucking awesome. Patrick Campbell, great. I've talked to him, the man's amazing. The other two are Labour councillors. So they might be they might be a little perturbed. If so, all the Labour seats on the west of Scotland, so they're thinking that Labour's going to lose all their constituencies. Oh, just mental. Admittedly, though, what is it? 16? 16 of their no, it's less than that. They never had 16 constituencies. They had 12 constituencies. 14 of those 12 constituency Labour MSPs, they're stepping away. Some of them are younger than me, for fuck's sake. Two of them are amazing lasses. I love them. Mercedes Villalba and Monica Lennon, they're literally leaving. They're said, nope, fuck this. So they're leaving politics altogether. I'm going to miss Monica. She's fucking awesome. And so's Mercedes. They've cited bullying from Westminster, oddly enough, because they're on the left of the party. And bullying from their leader. No citation on that, sorry. I will get back to the person that's been keeping me informed, don't worry. But yeah, a lot of the younger Labour MSP classes, women, are saying nope. Kind of indicative of something, methinks.
Yeah, honestly, bullying happens in just about every political party.
Yeah.
It was definitely happened when I was in Labour, and there's probably cases of it happening in the Greens sometimes, but even I think the Tories are probably the worst for it. It's like they all just step over each other all the time. But with Labour, you've got this relationship of people who genuinely care, and people just want to step over other people. And you find people who want to step over other people end up in charge a lot of the time.
Hang on, I'm going to check something a minute. Give me a minute, I'll just move you a bit. No, there's no one in the Evolution or the Judiciary. Right, so Google Meet then, maybe? Okay. Right, move that down. There we go. Oh.
Will make inroads for the first time, and given
I love
it's been
Rachel. I
said
think she's
several
brilliant.
times with your analysis tonight,
Hi, Rachel.
given how much support there's been for Labour in London over the years, we will take an awful lot of that. I go an awful lot in the other direction, but we won't quite deliver the seats that match it, if you see what I mean. But I still think we'll make inroads there.
And one of those London Labour veterans, if I'm allowed to call you a veteran, some people take that offensively, but somebody with great experience in London Labour, shall we say, David Lammy, of course, you are one of, I think, 58 London Labour MPs. I mean, if there are significant losses in London to the Greens, but then significant losses, as it seems there might be, to Reform in the northwest and the north of England, who's the bigger threat? I mean, how do you face both ways?
You know, David Lammy came to Chapelton in Leeds,
I remember,
just to make sure Labour lose to the Green Party, because it's quite a diverse seat. A lot of people have not voted Labour because of Gaza, and they decided to bring the Foreign Secretary of Labour up to that ward to, I don't know what really, justify genocide on a doorstep or whatever. But yeah, I hope, I'd say she's a friend, probably, Christiana.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hope she wins. An accountant by trade.
So, what, right. Rachel's, but not this Rachel, the one in number 11. She's Pudsey, isn't she?
Rachel, yeah, she's. Oh, yeah, you're on about Rachel Reeves, aren't you? Yeah, she's getting her ward constituency now as Pudsey, whereas it used to be like Leeds West sort of thing.
Who else? What other? Is there any other cabinet?
Whether in Leeds or Bradford or.
No, in Yorkshire in general that you know of.
I think. To be honest, I don't even pay attention to who's in the cabinet. They're just a bunch of names to me, to be honest. I guess the only one I really know of is Rachel Reeves, just because of, yeah. Well, I've got a funny story about her. You know, I turned up to a meeting to discuss how to respond to what you call a trigger ballot for selecting someone against her. And she turned up to this meeting and sat on a. Well, she came to say hello, and then she sat on a table right near us. So she couldn't talk about it, but I guess we did have a bit of a laugh and a few drinks. But yeah, someone must have tipped her off about that. But yeah, going back to what I was saying about bullying and all that, yeah, she obviously uses bullying as a tactic to maintain control in a party look.
Right, I promised Andy I'd be nice to myself. I'm going to read out now because I've been going for nearly 2.5 hours, and I'll go and see what Kev's up to, and we can go over and say hi to Kevin of Loganshire to see if he's keeping
So
us
you're
cool.
looking off now.
Yeah, I'm going to take it easy. Feel free to come back later on after your count, because I've been spamming everyone saying that I'm going to get the exclusive interview as a new councillor. You don't need to. You don't need to. You don't need to. You don't need to indulge me if you don't want to.
Yeah,
So
I'm not too confident, but yeah, I think we'll get much closer to winning, but at the same time, just because of the bullshit against that landscape, I think our ability to win sort of conservative leaning wards is going to be much harder. Yeah.
Oh, shit. Sorry about that.
It says it ends. Yeah.
Yeah. Hang on, I'll bring you back up. I'll just I'll put on my video for a minute so I can say hi to you properly. Ah, where am I? Oh no, I'm using the camera on my actual stream.
But yeah, basically, I think we might be wasting our time in Bingley West because of how conservative leaning it is. It might change by the next election, I don't know, but yeah. If things continue as they have done in this past week, yeah, people are just going to be too brainwashed and just unable to look past the messaging at a national level. Which, if we gain so many more seats in urban areas, I don't mind too much, but yeah, it would be nice to win.
No. Positivity, my good man. Positivity. So yeah, get back to me.
Yeah, I would.
And so I can lord it over Kev.
Live updates, actually, if you want, just.
Yeah, I'd love that. I'll be up all night
So you're not allowed
anyways.
to phone in the count, but you can go outside and use your phone. So
yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, John. This has been great having you give analysis and stuff and having you on.
Yeah.
I want you to have a good night's rest so you can go to your count nice and fresh.
Yeah. Okay.
Say good luck. Say hello when you get there to your lovely. I've been following you on Facebook as well.
Yeah.
All three of you, delightful human beings. So pass the message on to the lovely ladies, and I'll have my fingers crossed for the pair of them.
Yeah. I don't know if you saw the video posted just after the polls closed, just like basically saying, I think it's mainly to wind up the Tories, but yeah, basically we're not going anywhere. If we don't win this time, we're going to try next time, and we'll still be working in the future.
Yeah. Cool. Thank you, John. It's been great. And yeah, keep me updated and get back to me. Thank you.
Bye. Yeah. Bye.
Bye. Yep, that was awesome. Cool.
So that gives you a flavour of what's happening around
okay,
the country,
comrades.
and we will be giving the results as they come in, working with the small amount.
Shut up, award-winning Kerbalism. Thank you, everyone. I've promised comrades and friends and people who would yell at me, mainly my mods and my Northern Irish comrade, Andy. I'll be a good little girl. So let's go over and annoy Kevin of Loganshire, shall we? To see how he's coping. Don't worry, I won't do too much. Well, I've not got enough rum anyway. But I do have a rather stomach-destroying amount of vodka. And because it's incredibly difficult to get ice cubes into hip flasks, they've spent most of the day, like this shorter one is covered in leather, but it's still fucking cold. Even though it's been out the freezer for 6 hours now. No, 4 hours. But this one is just metal. It is fucking freezing, that one. And it's chilling my fingers. Kevin of Loganshire. Election night cluster welcoming. Too much extra. I do apologise, my YouTube comrades. Because I am scum and do not have enough, I cannot read you out into either Kev or Helena on the YouTubes yet. Watch this space. If you can't get everyone and their granny to follow me on YouTube, I might get to the 1,000 subscribers that I need before I'm 50. Go, you've got 3 years. Huh. Hang on, I got that muted.
No, that's not remotely what I wanted. Absolute fucking cockslayer. There we go. Hang on, I didn't need to.
I will be back in 9 hours. See you then.
And that my generation
Stay hydrated, not with rum or vodka. Self-care is good care. Take your meds if you need to take any. Stay based. Free Palestine. And enjoy those Labour tears. I know I will.
Being rock bottom. And I know people in my patch who may work 40 hours a week or more, taking on several jobs on minimum wage, and I'm glad that we've increased the minimum wage, so that's putting more money in people's pockets. And I know that others disagree with that, but I think it was the right thing to do. And yet they still can't afford to pay the mortgage and put food on